Hey there, I'm Meg, and welcome back to the Confident Client series. And if you're new here, this series is all about helping you make confident and informed decisions about your website. And I'm not here to convince you to work with me. I'm here to give you the knowledge and clarity that you need to move forward, whether you work with me or someone else. I'm a Squarespace web designer and an SEO specialist, but more than that, for this series, I consider myself your confidence catalyst. Because my goal, as it is with all my clients, is to help you bridge the gap between your expertise and your online presence so you can show up confidently in the online space. So today, I'm talking about some red flags that should make you pause when you're hiring a web designer, and the green flags that signal you might have found somebody you want to work with. Not all designers are created equal, and a bad fit can end up costing you time, money, and a whole lot of stress you don't need. And I want to help you avoid that. Here are 5 red flags to look out for. Number 1, they have no clear process or timeline. If a designer can't clearly explain their process, what happens when, what's your role in it, how long each phase takes, that's a problem. You need to know and should know up front what is the timeline from their signing your contract to launching your website. What are the major milestones? Where's your role? When do you provide feedback? What happens if you're delayed with content? These are all important things to know ahead of time, and if they cannot articulate that, that's a major flag. Here's the green flag you should be looking for. A designer who can provide a detailed timeline, explains each phase of the project, can set clear expectations about your role and theirs, and built-in buffer time for real-life delays. Red flag number 2, they have vague or a non-existent contract. If there's no contract or their contract is super vague about deliverables, timeline, payment terms, revision rounds, or what happens if someone needs to cancel, you should move on. The thing to remember is they're extremely important because they're not just there to protect the designer, they're there to protect you too. So it needs to be detailed and clear. Everything should be laid out in the contract, and you should be able to ask questions about it. So here's the green flag you should be looking for. They have a comprehensive contract that clearly outlines the scope of work, the deliverables, payment terms, the schedule, revision policy, the cancellation terms, ownership rights, what happens after launch. You should never feel confused about what you're agreeing to, and a solid designer is going to welcome your questions and be more than happy to answer them and provide clarity. Red flag number 3 is promises that sound too good to be true. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Things like, I'll get you to page 1 of Google in 30 days, or we'll 5x your revenue in 6 months, or we'll triple your lead conversions in 3 months. If somebody is making guarantees about results that they cannot control, they're either very naive or worse, very manipulative. Neither of them is good. Your web designer cannot guarantee results. They just can't. So if they're promising you results that they don't control, that's a big red flag. But here's the green flag you should look for. A designer who will set realistic expectations, explains what's in their control versus not, that focuses on the best practices rather than promises, and talks about websites as one part of your overall business strategy and not a magic solution to every business problem. Red flag number 4, poor communication or unavailability. If they're slow to respond during the sales process, take days to answer simple questions, or seem generally hard to reach or uninterested in talking with you, well, that's likely not going to get better once you've paid them and started your project. You also want to watch out for unclear communication or talking over your head without explaining things, dismissing your questions, or making you feel dumb for asking them. A green flag would be someone who provides consistent, clear communication. They'll respond within their stated time frame, hopefully within 1 to 2 business days. They'll explain things in plain language. They'll welcome your questions and make you feel heard and not stupid for asking. You should be professional and approachable. Finally, red flag number 5. They have no portfolio or testimonials, or what they do have is questionable. If a designer doesn't have a portfolio or examples of their work, That's concerning, unless they're just starting out and they've been clear with you about that up front. If they do have a portfolio, but it all looks the same or generic, or they just modified some templates slightly and doesn't actually showcase the type of work that you need, that should also be a concern for you. And what if they have no testimonials or reviews, or their testimonials are super generic, like great to work with, highly recommend? And those types of testimonials don't really tell you anything. The green flags you want to look for are someone who has a strong portfolio that shows range, custom work, and projects similar to what you need. Doesn't mean they have to have a portfolio of tons of websites, but they should have enough for you to be able to gather whether or not their work is going to match what you need. And they should have detailed testimonials that speak to the process, communication, or specific results of working with them. And bonus points if they have video testimonials or case studies about their projects that you can read through. And some will even be more than happy to connect you with their past clients so you can talk to them about their experience directly. So that's the major 5, but here's a few extra for you to watch out for. Pressure tactics. If they say a price is only good for a few days, or hey, I've got one spot left, maybe that's true, but it just feels a little manipulative, so you should trust your gut in those situations. There is no discovery process. If they quote you without asking any type of detailed questions about your business, your goals, your audience, your needs, well, they're not being strategic, and that's a bit concerning. If they don't discuss who's handling your copywriting, your images, or where all that's coming from, or what content you already have ready, that's setting you both up for some problems. Finally, this one is a big one. If they talk negatively about past clients, this tells you how they might talk about you later. Something to consider. Finally, not asking about your budget. Hopefully most designers will have their prices on their websites coming into your discovery. You should hopefully know whether or not they're in your budget to begin with. Regardless, a good designer is going to want to ensure that their services can align with what you can invest, and they should be curious about that. Some more green flags that signal you have a great designer on your hands. Here's what some excellent designers will do. They'll have thorough discovery process with thoughtful questions. They'll be genuinely curious about your business and audience, educate you throughout the process. They'll give you your homework and hold you accountable to it. And they'll always explain the why behind their recommendations. They'll be honest with you when something you want won't serve your business goals. They'll talk about strategy, not just aesthetics. They'll mention things like SEO, user experience, and conversions, not just, hey, it'll look pretty. They'll set boundaries and manage expectations clearly. Finally, their own website and communication will reflect the quality that they'll promise. Finally, you need to trust your gut. So you can check all the boxes on paper and everything will look great, but you'll still feel off about something. And that matters. You are going to be working very closely with this person for weeks, maybe months. And if that vibe feels weird from the start, if you don't feel heard, if something just isn't sitting right, you need to listen to them. A good working relationship with your designer is going to require trust, clear communication, and mutual respect. And if those aren't there from the start, they're not going to magically appear later. Hiring a web designer, it's a significant investment. Taking the time to spot red flags and green flags up front will save you a lot of money, time, and stress down the road. You deserve to work with someone who's professional, communicative, strategic, and genuinely invested in your success. So, now that you know what you need to watch for and what to avoid when hiring a web designer, you'll want to stay tuned because in the next video, we're going to be talking about DIY versus hiring a designer and how to know which path is actually right for you. So if the series is helping you feel more confident about your website decisions, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. And leave me a comment if you have some questions. I'm Meg. Thanks for letting me be your confidence catalyst, and I'll see you in the next video.